Hi, I'm Daniel from ligo.co.uk, and these are the Motorola XT185 two-way radios. The Motorola XT185 is the direct replacement for the XT180, which was a license-free radio designed specifically for business users. But rather than just making a few superficial changes and slapping a new number on it, Motorola have gone back to the drawing board with the XT185. But does it live up to its predecessor? Let's take a look. Let's start out, as always, by talking about the design of the radios. Sometimes when products are updated, there's only small changes made to them, but Motorola have made some quite significant updates to the XT185 to bring them more into line with their Talkabout series of consumer radios. The most obvious difference between this and the XT180 is the size. While the XT180 was quite a bulky unit, as you can see, the XT185 is a lot smaller and more streamlined, so it's something you can more easily fit into your pocket or clip on with the included belt clips, and it's not going to weigh you down while you're using it. Another big difference is that the controls on the front have been pared back to just these three buttons here, which I'll talk more about in a moment. There's also an integrated screen on the front as well. Although the radios are only small, they're still very loud when you turn them all the way up. I've only been testing them at lower volumes, but if you wanted to use these radios in a noisy environment, then they'd probably work well. As for range, as I mentioned earlier, these are license-free two-way radios, and in order to be license-free, the transmitters in them need to be below a certain output. In practice, that means that the actual range you get isn't going to be anywhere near what's stated by the manufacturer, which in this case is up to 8 kilometers. When testing these in a built-up area, we managed to achieve just under 1 kilometer, which is still really good for small radios like these. And if you're using them in something like a warehouse or a school or anything like that, then you should find that they stretch as far as you need them to. If you're taking them out into the countryside, then you'll be able to get a bit further, probably about 2 to 3 kilometers, which again should be fine for most business users. The XT185 is really easy to use. It comes with a PTT or push to talk button located on the side here, and this is nice and large and intuitive to press, so you're not going to be left looking for it when you want to talk. It's also got VOX Mode for hands-free use. When this is switched on, the radio is always listening out. When it hears the sound of your voice, it starts transmitting, and then when you stop talking, it cuts off again. In practice, this worked really well. I've found with some radios that they tend to be a bit hit or miss with picking up the sound of your voice, and some of them can be a bit strict when you pause in the middle of a sentence, so they end up cutting out some of what you're saying, but that wasn't an issue with these, so all good there. The XT185 comes with 16 different channels that you can broadcast on, along with 121 subcodes for a bit of extra privacy. We'd advise that you change the channel when you first use the radios. Since all license-free radios broadcast on the same frequencies, you can find that there's a bit of interference from other users on the default channel 10. Luckily though, there's an easy sync pairing button on the side here, so you just need to change the channel and subcode on one radio, and then you can pair up all the additional radios that you've got nice and easily, and they can all communicate with each other. And if you want to use the XT185 with other models of license-free radio, there's also a channel scan function which will flick through all available frequencies until it finds one that's being broadcast onto. Because of the way the screen is, there's not really a menu system to speak of here. You just press this central button and the various different menu options will light up one by one on the screen. Personally, I don't tend to look at the instruction manuals for pieces of tech when I first use them, but I did find myself having to refer to the manual to see what some of those icons meant. But to be fair, most of them are only going to be used the first time you set up the radio, and the ones that you will be using day to day, like VOX, are nice and clear. The Motorola XT185 comes with an IP54 rating, which makes it weatherproof. It's not fully waterproof like the Motorola T92, but it adds enough protection that it's not going to get damaged by the odd splash of rain, so they're suitable for being used outdoors as well. They offer up to 24 hours battery life, which is really good for small two-way radios, and a big improvement on the XT180, which only offered up to 14 hours battery life. The battery cover is just kept on with a little switch, as you can see here, so there's no need for a screwdriver to take them off. In practice, that means you could get some additional battery packs for these and easily swap them over while they're in use. When it's time to recharge, the radios come with this dual-headed micro USB charger. This can either be plugged in straight to the radios themselves under this little plastic flap, or as you can see, they come with individual charging cradles. I really like the design of these cradles, and they'd be really useful for just having sat out so you can always power the radios back up nice and easily. And they're also slightly magnetized when a current is running through them, so even if the radios get wobbled about a little bit, they'll still hold the connection. Finally, each XT185 comes with its own detachable belt clip. These are really easy to put on and take off, and as well as obviously letting you clip the radios onto your clothing if you want to use them hands-free. I also found it made holding the radio a bit more comfortable with that on as well. They also come with earpieces included. These are okay, but if you've got existing ones you want to use or you fancy an upgrade, they'll work with any 2.5mm headset. So there we have it, the Motorola XT185, a solid set of two-way radios that are suitable for all manner of business users. If you've got any questions about these radios or suggestions for what you'd like us to review next, pop a comment below, or to get your hands on some of these for yourself, go to ligo.co.uk.